guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. I'm here somewhere special within planet Earth because guess what? We have something updated for 2025 and it's one of these vehicles right here. What is it? This is a 2025 Rivian R1S. But before we get into this revised, updated, and improved upon R1S, let's talk about what's going on here. Rivian, this car company that's come out of nowhere, is really doing a lot of things in the EV world. Now, of course, when we say EV, everybody and their mother knows Tesla, but I think Rivian is really catching on, and there's really a cult following that's developing for this brand. Now, what's fascinating is what started off with just a truck, the R1T, which also gets the same revisions that this R1S is getting for 2025. But of course, we have the upcoming R2, which if you haven't seen our walk around of that from New York, I'll leave it at the end of this review. And then by 2027, they're hoping for their smallest vehicle, which is the R3. Now, in the auto industry, a lot of the big names are jumping in with their electric vehicles. And one of those luxury brands that really brings adventure, style, and technology, just like Rivian, is going to be Cadillac. So what I want to find out is, if you're looking for the best electrified three-row SUV, do you go with this updated and approved upon R1S, or do you wait for the Cadillac Escalade IQ, which is right around the corner? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our Rivian and find out. Right off the bat, from the outside, it might surprise you that there's not a lot of change, but I don't think that's a bad thing because Rivian really hit the styling nail, the head of the nail, perfectly because how distinct these vehicles are. Now, at the front of the business, you're still, of course, going to get full LED lighting. You have that signature style where you have your LED daytime running lamp that circles around our little quadrant here of LED headlights. And then the daytime running lamp, of course, goes all the way across the front mounted trunk. As we drop down, you are going to have your LED turn signals mounted down below. I like the way they separate them from the rest of the lighting. And then you are, of course, because this is an electrified vehicle, getting functional air curtains because we got to try to cheat the air as much as possible to help with the range. And the great news is, not only do we have an update with everything underneath the sheet metal, but that also includes the battery and its range. Now, you do have the required painted recovery tow hooks. And then as we come across the front, like I said, a very distinct style right off the bat. I like the way they didn't do like a rounded jelly bean effect like the Tesla lineup, but you have that very bold daytime running lamp. Down below, we do have a forward-facing camera with a washer. Very important to have the washer. You do have functional grille here because we now have a new Max battery pack that is liquid cooled, and those shutters are going to open and close to bring that cooling. And then you'll notice the nice amount of ground clearance that we have, especially because this does have adaptive air ride suspension that has been retweaked for 2025. Now, as we rise up, what's becoming that very famous Rivian badge, love the silver with the yellow. And then I'm glad that they kept the hood looking nice and bold. You just have a C-shaped indentation. The Rivian signature blue color really makes it pop in the sun. And then as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. So you're going to notice these new style wheels, and I'm really digging them. You have, of course, gloss black, sort of like a Y-spoke design. If you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of this wheel? 22-inch wheel, 275 on the width, 50 series sidewall. And look at these calipers, massive calipers with the Rivian name. I like the way it's got a nice flat silver appearance. Now, what's great about the Rivian is, remember, you get it to option in a lot of different ways. This particular one is the high performance dual motor setup. You also have the availability of a tri-motor and a quad motor setup on the Rivian, depending on how much horsepower and torque and how low of a 0 to 60 you want. And then I'm gonna have Lori kind of zoom on in and show you, you could see the upper control arm, you could see the air ride system, like I said, to raise and lower this new Rivian updated R1S. I actually don't mind the flat black. Let me know if that bothers you, if this should be painted around the fender openings, but I really don't mind the flat black because it's not really huge cladding and it kind of helps with the sort of woodsy nature of the R1S. But the wheels look fantastic, and like I said, 22 inches in diameter. Now, this one has the dual motor, so we have a motor up front, motor out back that's gonna give us instantaneous all-wheel drive. I want Lori to kind of zoom in and show you that this paint job actually has some nice flake to it, which makes it pop in the sun. You do have power folding mirrors, which we have them in the folded position. Cameras every which way. You have about 11 different camera angles on this thing, like the flat black with the Rivian badge, and we have flush mounted door handles, because like I said, it's all about cheating the air, and that's gonna help with airflow. Another thing is I'm gonna have Lori kind of swing around and show you how they work the aero into the fender flare. See how you can see right through to the tire? Nicely done. Flat roof design, I really feel like the boxy flat roof has made a full return, and Rivian has taken advantage of that. With the two-tone setup, you have a solid glass panoramic roof. It's not a sunroof, it doesn't open up, but solid glass roof, our flush mounted door handles, and then another signature area is how they work the rear pillar here with the Rivian badge, nicely shaped with the quarter window. And I like the way the trim is just flat, nothing shiny, nothing silver. And you'll notice how it waterfalls into the back of the vehicle. Now, just like up front, you're gonna get that same great signature LED lighting all the way from one side to another. It's got your backup lamps, it's got your turn signals, everything built in, that bold Rivian badge name, and then of course, R1S. So R1T is the truck, this is the 3-row SUV, and then of course the R2 is gonna be a 2-row SUV. Working our way down, nice signature lighting on the bottom portion. I love the way they curve that lower area underneath. And of course you could tow with your Rivian. But why don't we go ahead? One of the most interesting things is the frunk. Let's pop it and then we could talk about what's underneath all the sheet metal. All right guys, we got the frunk up. That is a power lift frunk, front mounted trunk area. You'll notice you have some really usable space. Plus there's a couple of cargo net cubbies for cleaning supplies if you want to show off your Rivian to all the Tesla owners. But what about the power? So we have a performance dual mount motor setup, a motor up front, motor out back that gives us 665 horsepower, 829 pound-feet of torque. We have the max battery, which is a 141.5 kilowatt hour battery pack, 0 to 60 in this particular vehicle, 3.4 seconds. A range of around 420 miles, and on a DC fast charger in 20 minutes you could charge up to 140 miles. Like I mentioned earlier, you could tow with your Rivian, 7,700 pounds. And some of the changes that they made, believe it or not, is they actually changed the heat pump to make a more efficient air conditioning system. They also changed how many ECUs there are. They went from 17 ECUs down to 7. They got rid of a ton of wiring and cables. They were able to kind of bring everything together. That sheds about 155 pounds compared to the previous model year. And of course, that max battery option. Now, one of the things I want to show you, besides the usable space up top, is that of course, you lift this up and you actually have, if you took all this stuff out, it is a nice little cooler area that you could have. So by taking all this out, you have a cooler area with a drain plug. And if you don't want plastic, you can actually flip it over. Say you got something soft, you don't want to scratch it, it's got the nice carpet. So nice, clean setup on that. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the inside to show you the changes for 2025. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 updated, refreshed Rivian R1S. This one is the performance Rivian R1S dual motor setup. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I'm loving Rivian. I love what they stand for. I like Cadillac as well, but this seems to be more up my rugged alley. How much is it? Very good question. So the Rivian R1S for 2025 starts at $75,900 and can be maxed out option-wise up to $103,000. This one, being the dual motor with the max battery pack, is right around $91,000. But let's see what Rivian brings for the money to the door panels. Love the minimalistic style, but it also has some substance. Everything is going to be biodegradable, recycled materials. Nice stitching, nice softly padded armrest, no gloss black trim. You'll notice that button, that square rectangle button, that's to pop open the door. And then you do have a door pocket down there large enough for, I would say, easily 6 Coney dogs and a bottle of root beer to wash it down. We have the Dolby Atmos premium sound system. And then going from the door panel to the dash, same thing. The materials, everything nicely constructed. Even the way we have the adventurous forever badge. AC vents are blended in nicely. My one zonk is to change the AC vents where they blow on you, you have to do it through the infotainment system screen. You cannot adjust it manually with your hands. Now come on in. What you're greeted to is a 15.6-inch infotainment system. Let's take it slow. Let's go through it together. First of all, AC. Bring up the AC controls. Everything is within the screen. If you want to change like your blower fan speed, you're just going to touch there. If you want to change where everything is blowing on you, you have to use your finger and drag where you want that air to hit. You also have, of course, your heated side mirrors, heated steering wheel, and I love this one, hit the paw. For our furry friends, you could have a special AC. It's called Pet Comfort that will stay on so you can walk away from the vehicle with your pet inside. They remind you not to use this. Even though you may treat your kids like pets, it reminds you not that it doesn't work for kids. It's just for our furry friends. Even if your kid is really hairy, it's not for them, just so you know. Obviously, we have our nice navigation built in. Cameras. This has 11 high-def cameras. Before I show you the cameras, though, I want to show you how everything is accessible through the screen. You could fold in your mirrors, you could open up the rear hatch, you could open up your charge port door, and you could open up the trunk, all from this one easy access screen. So that's really nice. Down below, we hit cameras. This is what I wanted to show you. Nice high resolution. I could actually count how many pebbles are in the road, and it's easy to switch from them. You got your trajectory, really nicely done. You could bring up sides. You can look at your wheels. Look at that. There's your 22-inch wheel. And remember, standard wheel on this vehicle is a 20-inch. We have 22-inch wheels. We hit the lightning bolt. Taking care of business. Boom. Shows you your range, your charging schedule, all the accessory power that you might be using. Here's another nice little function. So you hit this guy right here. Brings up all your drive modes: sport, snow, all-terrain, soft sand. You could raise and lower the height of your Rivian. How about ride feel? You want to feel nice and soft like you're wrapped in a marshmallow? You could do that with soft. You could also adjust the regen braking. 3 different levels: low, high, and standard. I'm going to go with standard because I feel like the high, it's just a little too intense for my taste. Just when you thought we were done, watch this. So I'm going to hit this again. Gonna come back, swipe up. How about camping? I like to camp. Do you? You got your little fire, you got your chairs. This actually has a camp courtesy option, which will actually limit the amount of noise when you lock and unlock the doors. It'll shut that off, lower the exterior lighting so you don't wake everybody up. You got your outlets. You could turn the displays off. You could even level it. So if you're parked somewhere where it's not level, you could actually level it and be nice and flat inside your Rivian. You could even manage your energy. So really cool to see all that. But I really love the graphics. It has a nice, fun kind of feel to it compared to the Cadillac Escalade. I feel is a little bit more obviously luxurious. But even the sounds, like if I hit the hazards, it sounds like a heartbeat. It's actually the heartbeat of a newborn baby. That's what's kind of interesting about all the different sounds, all the different functions. Now, there's your integrated center AC controls, your vents. One thing Lori wanted me to really show, which I don't want to break her heart, is first of all, check this out. We got all the instrumentation. So you got tire pressure, tells you how the temperature of your motors, the battery temp, all that good stuff. That's one thing. Another thing she wanted me to show, which is where when we come back here, we're gonna hit settings. And what's nice is you could go into interactive lighting. So if you wanna have exterior lighting that's illuminated while you have it parked, you could do that. Really nice to do just by turning it on and off. Very simple, straightforward. We're right back where we started. Down below, because this is a EV, we have a flat floor, so you have a place for a purse, a sack, a satchel. You can even get a bag of Vidalian onions. Or maybe you like red onions. Red onions are not really my style. I'd rather take a Vidalia onion or a sweet white onion, but you can keep those down there. My advice, if you're gonna eat a bag of onions, don't kiss anybody for about a month, because even if you brush your teeth, you're not gonna get rid of that taste or the smell. We do have wireless charging up top, a place to stick your phone. Watch this here, I'll demonstrate with my phone. So we're taking out the Raiti's Rides phone. There's Oscar, we all love Oscar. Doo-doo. There you go, look at that. And now you can read your text or whatever. Obviously you use a key card. There's no actual key fob or anything like that. And then down below, I love this slide-in drawer here. You got this cool slide-in drawer, goes back and forth. You could put, I would say probably 8 off-road camping Twinkies in there. And then open this bad boy up, hit the buttons, bombs away. Oh my God, 2 USB-Cs, ton of felt lining so you can put your favorite Stanley Cup in there. I know that seems to be the craze with the kids, the Stanley Cup. Just give me a regular freaking canteen or something. Do we need to have these fancy cups and stuff? And then the seats. I love the material. All vegan, so we don't have to hurt the cows. Vegan leather, I love the Rivian badge. The stitching, full electric assist for the passenger, full electric assist for the driver, of course. There's that solid panoramic glass roof, and we have that Alcantara material all along the headliner. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel of this Rivian. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel of this Rivian R1S. Like the way it's got the Rivian name to welcome you, so it reminds you what vehicle you bought. Great pedal box, really rugged, durable brake pedal, throttle, and I like the aluminum on the dead pedal. We do have recycled material for the custom Rivian floor mats. All Rivians get that style floor mat. And all the seat controls are gonna make you feel snug as a bug, an electrified rug. I'm 6 feet tall, I'm swimming in space in here. If you need more space, your name is Shaquille O'Neal, and you're probably just gonna break through that panoramic glass roof and not even worry about it. Steering wheel, very simple, very straightforward, and I actually like that. I don't need 1,200 buttons on the wheel, but what's cool is both sides have thumb wheel controls and side control buttons, which are great. Now this is an electric tilting and telescoping steering wheel. You have to do it through the screen, and since I'm talking about the screen, I love the way the graphics, so when you go into sport mode, it actually lowers the vehicle. If you notice, we go into snow mode, changes the graphics. Let's make a snowman. We're actually racing right now. Lori's doing a good job of hanging tough. Go off-road. Really, really cool just to show all the different functions and features. Then we're gonna go right back to sport, lower it. That's how I roll. Look at that, ready for a racetrack. Now behind the steering wheel, we almost forgot to show, you do have this large 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. You got the Google Maps on the left. On the right, it shows you your gear indicator and that we're ready to roll out. Plus you have your battery charge and your range in there and what height you are. So it's got a nice, clean setup to what information. It doesn't bombard you with a bunch of information, which I kind of like. And I like the fact that there's 2 separate screens. I hate it when there's just one screen and it's all in the center. The one thing I wish is that it just had a couple regular buttons, just a couple, to do some of the things that you like to do every single day. But why don't we go ahead, let's get into the mid-row and third row and see how this Rivian R1S stacks up. Hi guys, mid-row time, and just like the people up front are spoiled because of how low and flat the floor is in the vehicle, same thing here. We got that battery pack in the belly of this beast. You can see just how flat it is all the way across. Love having the pockets here. You could put a couple magazines of Outdoor Weekly, maybe Home and Gardening if you're gonna go to Home Depot and fill up your Rivian with some tulips, and you're gonna plant those because you love tulips, because they mean love and friendship and all that other junk. Slide on in, you got a nice 8-inch digital display here for your AC controls. Make all of your adjustments, blow the air on your face, blow it on your legs, shut it off. And then you have, of course, your seat controls to go through the temperature settings on those as well. And I'm going to shut it off. I could even go to the rear. So I could adjust the rear AC, and you also have seat controls for the rear as well. Even some people close to me didn't know how easily accessible that was. Sitting here, I love the room, plenty of headroom. That panoramic glass roof really makes it open and airy in here. Slides really nice. Reclines a little bit. I would have liked to seen a little bit more recline. But you got soft material, 2 cup holders. Is this a lid? No, it's not a lid. That would have been perfect for a 1-pound bag of freaking Skittles. Especially if I see the rainbow, you could taste the rainbow. But the same great seats as the people up front. But let's get into the back. I heard there's a third row back there. I hope that there's enough room for me. I'm 6 feet tall, like I said, in case you forgot or you weren't listening. So let's get in the third row of this Rivian and see what it feels like. Hi guys, third row time. And what really is helping this vehicle is because it is an EV, because the floor is lower and it's flat, my knees are not too high. And you can see that with the seat in front of me, it could come back quite a bit and I still have plenty of room. And I love the way the seats, when you push the button, how they just get out of the way. Makes for a quick getaway, a quick exit. I do have rear AC vents. The problem is to control these, I have to ask the people in the middle row to make it cooler back here. Also, the seats are heated, so if I'm not sweating enough, if I want to sweat some more right now, I could have the heated seats turn on. I just got to ask the mid-row people. And I'm the type of person, I don't like to ask. I want to just do it myself. So it would have been nice to have some controls back here. What's cool is you have these compartments. So you could easily put, I would say, 4 of those pickles in a bag. You know, when you go to 7-Eleven, you get the pickle in the bag of pickle juice. Plus you have connectivity in there. And I love the way it seals up with your 2 cup holders. So they got you covered there. But the seats are actually pretty comfy, and I like the way that they use the same design. Everybody gets a Rivian name, just like as if Oprah was giving it away to everybody. And maybe if the Oprah Winfrey show was still on, maybe she would give away Rivians to everybody. I don't know. We'll have to ask her on the next live Q&A. But why don't we get into the cargo area and see what the heck we could stuff on our next adventure in this Rivian. All right guys, cargo area time. We're gonna go ahead and hit the button. Nice electric assist, and you'll notice that you have that split setup. I kind of like that because when you're going to the grocery store and you're getting your melons, you know, like you're really into big melons, you put the melons back here and it has a nice wall so they don't roll away. If you want to drop this, very simple. Look at that nice little loading area. Now on the driver's side, you get some great touches. First of all, you got a home power source, you got a 12 volt, and this is a cover. Look, you make it disappear. Woo! Power source, 12 volt home power source. You can fold down the third row and the mid row. And then on the passenger side, especially if you're going like to the park or camping, you got enough room here for 2 Nerf footballs. And if you like snacks like I do, look at all of the space we have underneath there for your Twinkies. You could actually separate your Twinkies from your ho-hos and your ding-dongs, because ding-dongs and ho-hos don't get along very well. Now to fold down the rear seats, it's actually quite simple. You're just gonna go ahead, lift up and fold. And you'll notice everything is ultra flat. Lori's gonna show off in the back there the nice padding on the armrest, the AC vents. You're basically looking at, so we started with 17.7 cubic feet of space. You then go up to 50 cubic feet of space, and then you fold down the mid-row, you're looking at 105 cubic feet of space. Plus, you have about 11 cubic feet of space with the frunk. So there's tons of storage in here, really nicely done. I just would have liked to have seen some connectivity for the third row. You have AC vents, but there are no USBs back there like I pointed out. So just something to be aware of. If your phone goes to die, you better have a nice long cord. But you know what? If you're ready, I'm definitely ready. Let's go for a little spin in this very quick Rivian. All right, guys, we are inside this updated, retuned, and specialized 2025 Rivian R1S. Right away, when you get inside this vehicle, you're gonna notice, just like before, all of the great finishes. And when we talk about finishes, we're talking about one heck of a fit and finish, because remember, when it comes to electrified vehicles, you do not have the ability to have an ICE component to cancel out any of the noise or vibration that might work its way into the cabin. So the engineers and designers at Rivian, as we go over a railroad track there, really did their homework in trying to get rid of that NVH as much as they could. And even going over the ripped up Michigan roads and the railroad tracks, it still was very, very stable, and it didn't shake the fillings out of my mouth. And I think that's one thing you're definitely gonna appreciate as you drive this vehicle day in and day out. Now, of course, with about 155 pounds less of just stuff in this Rivian R1S, it's just gonna feel good to drive. And if you've never driven an EV, which I know some of you still have not had the opportunity to, it surprises you when you're behind the wheel, because you have that lower center of gravity and they actually handle quite well. So a lot of times, don't get hung up on the overall weight of the vehicle, because even though that number may surprise you, with having the battery pack where it is and everything nice and low in the chassis, it actually makes the handling so much more refined and so much of a quicker response than what you would find in a 3-row SUV that is a ICE setup of a vehicle. I love the changes that they made to the infotainment system and the digital gauge display with the readouts, the colors, the... All right, guys, another thing you're gonna love is, for those of you who have a hard time with blind spots, you have all those great high resolution cameras on this vehicle. And when you go to change lanes, it pops up nicely, that blind spot camera, so that you can see and have that perfect view where you feel comfortable. Because I think for some people, maybe if you're stepping up, maybe if you've driven a Chevy Bolt and that's been your EV experience, it's a little bit on the smaller side. This is larger, but I think you're gonna feel very comfortable. I'm actually gonna come to a stop. Nobody's behind us, obviously. It's that instant torque that makes these a lot of fun. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. Little quick chirp of the tires and we're off to the races. And that's the thing that, as you can see, it just puts a smile on your face, that instant hit of torque. And to think that this is the dual motor. This is not a quad motor or even the tri-motor setup. So it's got plenty of power to get you up to speed. And remember, like I tell you, it's not so much about going and taking your Rivian and going to the drag strip. It's about, if you need to get into a certain lane and merge, then what you need to do is be able to get out of your own way. And it's nice to have that speed and agility. And that's another thing, is the agility to get out of your own way. And like I mentioned when we were doing the exterior walk around, they not only refined the motors and the batteries and all this other stuff, but even down to the bushings of the suspension. They revamped, retuned the suspension, the air ride system. I'm in sport mode and still very comfortable, but very confidence inspiring and very planted. I think that's another thing, is that, like I was saying before we went on throttle, if you're coming from a smaller vehicle, especially if it's a smaller EV, getting into a 3-row might be a little too much to handle, you might think, but this Rivian is really gonna make things a lot easier for you and feeling confident. But going down the road, even with those 22-inch wheels, the ride is very smooth. It's not shaking my internal organs. And then, like I said, if you need a merge, if you're about to miss your exit, you could just lay it down and you're off and running very, very smoothly and very quickly with no problems. But having the 3-row flexibility really opens up the uses for this, and Rivian listened to the customers. That was one of the reasons why they made the changes to the suspension, is that the mid-row and the 3rd-row customers, they wanted to see some differences, they wanted to see some changes, and Rivian made those changes. And the nice thing is everybody's gonna feel it, whether you're sitting up front, the mid-row, or the 3rd row. But definitely having the amenities of heated and ventilated seats, having the dual climate control, and then having, even though you're having to go through the screen, I think the one thing to remember is it's placed in a very smart position. I know exactly where I need to touch if I want to make that quick AC change. I don't have to go into a separate menu somewhere to change that. Or if I want to go into a different drive mode, I just hit that, and now I could go and change the drive mode. We could go into all purpose. And what that's gonna do, remember, is make the adjustments to the air ride suspension, all the tuning on the fly while you're going down the road. All right, guys, been another great day. Definitely want to thank the whole Rivian team for getting us access to this vehicle. Let me know what you think. Is the R1S, now that it's been refreshed, it's like R1S.2, does it bring the goods to go up not only against Tesla, we already know about Tesla, but that upcoming Cadillac Escalade IQ? Let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. I'll come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raity's Rides family. None of this would be possible if it wasn't for Lori Gibbons, Raiti, working that camera like a champ. Thank you, LGR, for busting your butt, not only in the sun, but also in the studios as well. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.